Hello, you guys. Hello, and welcome to day 27 of 90 Days Through the Word. My name is Sonia McCullough Lockridge, and I joy to come to you in this fashion. Now, today our reading found us in 2 Kings 4:38 through 2 Kings 15:26. Now, most of the bulk of our reading is in regards to Elisha and his many miracles that he performed after he became the prophet after Elijah. Now, so most of our reading is in regards to those stories. You know, one of the stories is there's a woman, she doesn't have any children, and she's always taking care of the servant of the Lord, the man of God, and so he looks at her family and determines that she may need a son. And then the next year, in a year's time, she has a son. And then over time, the son gets sick and gets ill and dies. And then she goes to seek him and finds him. And he comes back to this dwelling. He lays his body on him and raises him back to life. That's one of the many stories of Elisha's stories that's found in our reading today. Another one of our stories that's found in the reading is in regards to Naaman in chapter 5. Naaman has leprosy. He is told to go and wash himself in the Jordan 7 times, to dip himself in the Jordan 7 times. He does not want to do this. He does not want to participate. He does not want to dip his body in the Jordan 7 times, but eventually he does, and the leprosy leaves him, and he is cured. But the prophet's assistant is insistent on a payment, and he pretends that they are in need of a payment. He gets a payment, and then he lies about it, and then he ends up with leprosy himself. Then there is the story of the borrowed axe. Someone borrowed an axe, threw it in the water, it broke, and Elisha has another miracle in which he provides the fix for this act through another miracle. So, in chapter 9, Jehud is anointed as king, and Jehud murders Joram. Ahijah and Elijah prophesies concerning Jezebel that she's going to die in a certain fashion, which she does. So this prophecy comes true eventually. And in chapter 10, Ahab has 70 sons, and they all perish and are beheaded by Jehu. And the house of Baal is demolished. Joash in chapter 11 is anointed king. In chapter 12, a 7-year-old Josaphat reigns as king of Judah. There are questions in regards to the repairs of the temple in chapter 12. Joash dies, and Josaphat reigns as king for 17 years. And then in chapter 13 through 14, there are more kings, more reigns, and so on and so forth. But we are pulling our lesson today from chapter 5 of our reading. So in chapter 5, Naaman does not want to participate in his healing. And oftentimes, we do not understand that we must take an active role in our healing, just as Naaman did. It wasn't the 7 times that dipped him in the water. The Lord was going to provide healing for him regardless. But he needed to be a participant in the healing process. So anytime we're going through a healing process, we need to be an active participant in that process. That's our lesson for today. We need to be active participants in our healing process, just as Naaman was in the dipping of himself in the Jordan 7 times in his cleansing process. This is the assignment that the Lord had for Naaman to be healed. Okay? The dipping of himself in the waters did not make the healing happen or not happen. What made the healing happen is the obedience to do this thing 7 times. And so Naaman did finally dipped himself in the Jordan 7 times, and healing was his reward. So we need to be active participants in our healing. And then other people can also glean and see what the Lord required of us to be healed. So there is a requirement for healing often, and often, like in the text, like in the holy word of the Lord, often it is explained to us exactly what it is that we must do to be healed. So, tomorrow our reading finds us in, tomorrow we're going to the book of Chronicles. Tomorrow we will be in the book of Chronicles, and we know we've read that verse several times in this reading, and what they did not do is found in the book of Chronicles. It's written in the book of Chronicles. So now we're actually going to a book of Chronicles. I'm not saying it's the same book that's mentioned in the text, but it's the Chronicles that we have in our reading, in our Holy Word of God in 2024. So I thank you so much, and I hope and pray your reading is going well. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I joy to come to you in this fashion. Thank you, and have a blessed day in the Lord.